Good morning, everybody. This is Max Farrow from Dex Effects Markets. Today is the 29th of May. Of May. I do that every day for some reason in the last couple of days. The 29th of May, I almost said 29th of March. The 29th of May, 2020, and we're going to start with our weekly wrap-up. Let's get started. Now, normally, a weekly wrap-up would consist of all the great things that we have done during, why am I watching this YouTube video? This is crazy. This is the beginning part of me. I got you. Pause. All right. So the week has been crazy, but we finally got out. Let me do a quick share so you can see not just that white screen. This is the Dex Atomic TV portal. That's right. I know. Seems like we're just making up names now, right? No, we're not. So as most of you know, the Dex Atomic is the portal system that we created to have our charts on. Here's the training page. And if we jump over to the Atomic, you'll easily see that there is a tremendous amount of stuff in here. There's our advertising. Here's these awesome charts. I've loved these. I feel like I'm watching a baby grow up, right? So these are awesome charts. And don't get me wrong, I still love every once in a while just to pop back in here and utilize these charts. And you're going to be able to get some lessons today too. We got about 2 minutes. We're going to go look at the market and do a quick market read on this wrap up as well. And just being able to go down and pop, real quick and easy, real simple. Everything's nice and white and crisp and clean and fun. And you don't know what you don't know, right? So what did we create? We created the Dex portal for the Dex Atomic TV. TV stands for TradingView. That's right. TradingView. Now, TradingView has some awesome programs. Excuse me as I scamper around. I have to plug in my headset. I've been using it all night. Hang on one second. And TradingView, if you've noticed, the TradingView system on all our charts down on the bottom left-hand corner, there's this little bug that says TradingView. Well, TradingView is a multi-million-dollar network of chart systems. So why not use them? We created our system around them, and with their codes and system and help, we've created that Dex Atomic network over there. Well, since I started learning how to code in that network system, that private library scripting system that we have for, since I learned how to do that, I also learned how to code in the regular, what we call Pine scripts. And we made the Dex Atomic indicator, or Dex Atomic indicator and a Dex Atomic B to be able to trade Forex, indices, and commodities. Now, all that's just released in phase 1. And if you're wondering what phase 1 is where we put everything that we have for it and get you moderately ready to trade on the Dex Atomic system for the TradingView system. And why is that so much more important than the other? You always say, the people say that I always say that simplistic is good. Why convolute it with a whole bunch of other things? Well, if you're going to increase the complexity, you should also increase the reward for it, and that's what we've done. So let's pause the share here real quick. I'm going to pause just for a quick second. I'm going to make sure I'm logged in. Normally, I don't trade on Fridays, so I'm not going to trade live. I'm going to trade in demo on a Friday because I normally don't. I've made that rule. I'm going to resume the share. There's my demo account. We're going to pull up our indicators. This is the loadout, what we call the layout of the Dex Atomic Masters. This is the first 5 pairs. I don't want to put like all 10 pairs on one system in here. Gotta find all my little places. Looks like there's no arrows available. It's been a crazy couple of hours, I guess. So I'm going to go over to the secondaries and look to see. I should give you a tour of this. Some of you have already seen it. We have the 1 hour masters. Now we're going to do the 1 hour secondaries, which is right there. Everything's popping in real close. See the 9, that should be 50. There we go. No arrow, no arrow. Scared me. I thought I was going to get washed on arrows. Button down. There you go. There we go. All right. So we got 2 US. Okay. Of course, there's news that's about to pop off too. There is, of course, the CAD is yakking its brains off, right? I had a lot of stuff happen this morning and sort of pluffing around. Now the budget balance is going to come out here in a few. It already has, and for a minus, so it's probably going to punch this thing in the face for the USD CAD, which means the USD CAD should be heading in an upward fashion, you'd think. Let's get over to our charts in here. There's the masters, there's the secondaries. Yep. Okay. So, but we also have the Euro River and pound firing off too. So not too bad. So let's pull that one up and see if we can have a look at it. Lots of movement. We don't want to get into any, we won't be able to get anything really here. Don't know. Let's see, 89, 83, 89, 94. So yeah, about 11 pip. If we would have gotten in right at the beginning, there's a possibility we could have got into that, but this is a pretty big push. There's a major news. This is why I don't trade on Fridays. One of the reasons why. It's just that the effective end of the week kind of thing is pretty tough. Some people love trading Fridays because they love the movement. I really don't. Okay, so I'm missing a moving average. I was talking to a trader, a pro trader, a couple of days ago, and he said, "Why do you use a moving average? You can kind of see it anyway, can't you?" I'm like, "Yeah, at this time, but it's also a personal preference to see that remark happening. You know, the value of that, of the pulse of the market, right? Sometimes you anticipate what that average is, and it goes way above the average, and I want to see where that is. You know, I want to see what the history is over the last 50 bars." Right? Gives me that knowledge that it's going to come back. You know, it's always going to come back to the mean, right? It's always about the mean. This is one of those learning sessions that I want to give you in trading. Okay. We know that the market can continue to rise. And in trading news, if you were to trade news, if you wanted an effective way to trade news, here's an effective way to trade news. You find a pair that's been really, really punched in the face, right? You got 1 or 2 bars that just encapsulate 10 or 15, right? This engulfing 2 or 3, you know, you got this little bugger that's happening here, not really telling you much of anything, right? There used to be a way to trade in this fashion that you would grab it right at the money, right? Like if you knew that this was, and now you're heading up, you would grab this, you have a 50-50 shot of grabbing in the money right there, $50, right? $50, and you just let it go. And then you take out $25 of profit margin as soon as it hits it and you're done. You know, if your idea of trading a contract is at $25 and you want to make $25 per contract, getting it at 50-50 or even out of the money, right? Like if you found a good level to be at, the mean, right here, boom. The mean between this area and this area right here. And that's where this is happening at. You see that? There's a reason why this area is here and this area is here. In the mean, halfway through, there is an opportunity to get into a buy situation. And as it goes on, you're buying it right at the money. Don't buy it down here, you know, don't buy it down here. You're buying it right here. Okay. And you're buying it right here at $50 or more, right? 50 plus. Okay. Because you're buying it for not the buy, right? But well, yeah, you don't want it to go from here. So you want to get it for 50 plus as it's in this area, right? Because you know that it's going to be what? A buy. That's right. So as this candle was forming, okay, because this is where it came out right here, you had choices to buy in this situation. Now, if you would have bought here, you probably got it for like $30 or $40 if you did a buy, right? Where you really got to look at is where is this thing going to return to as it comes back down, right? So if you were to buy it right here in this area between these two and do a sell, you would get it for really good money and a possibility of it returning back down to the mean down in this area. And you could profit from that. It's learning where your availability of profit and being able to get in, I'm sorry, I'm drawing all over the chart, can make a difference for you. Now, the problem with that, okay, so like if it came all the way up here and I decided I'm going to buy this one right here for an OTM and hope that it comes down here, I'm going to spend like 25 bucks on this thing, right? And that's okay. And it's going to come back down. It's going to railroad track back down. If you could see, you not see the future here, but you know it's news. So it's going to expand and it's going to contract. You got this opportunity to be able to find these levels that it's going to punch off of, like in this area right here. Now, why wouldn't it stay there or there or there, right? It makes more sense. But really, it's this entire thing is a justifiable zone, this whole thing. So it's pushed down below it. Now it's pushing. It's going to gravitate up in here for a little bit, I think. It's going to stay up in that area or come back down here and finish off in the mean. But if you had bought this particular area, once you see it stall, you have a decision to make. You can go for a buy or go for a sell. Well, guess what it always does? It always comes back to where? The mean, like it's doing right now. Once it pushes past that at one time or another, when it pushes past a major level, either support and resistance, major level, it's always going to come back to it somehow. This one down here, this green-red zone where you clearly see that it's pushing off is easily 1, 2, 3. And we know news is coming, right? We have a choice. Once it hits right here, we have a choice to make. And this is where guesstimation or luck, if you will, could be considered from this viewpoint, not so much as the technical analysis would deem that, yes, it's going to absolutely be a buy. But as the pair comes down and breaks this subject, see how it broke here and kind of came up, and then broke again. As it started to shrink back and come back over the price, once it got past here, you would do for a buy. It'd be that simple. You do for a buy at this expiry, and you would just allow the profit to go in your favor from this point. You would be getting for $40. It would go up. You would get about maybe $30 worth of $25 to $30 worth of profit off of it, and you get out. There's all different types of ways and strategies to play with the charts and trades at any level, right? The problem is where most people get in is that they try to do too much. And here's where the rubber really meets the road. I could easily just come back in and trade one time a day. In fact, over the past week, I've traded from 11 to 12. There was a trades that I did on Monday night from like 8 to 9. I think it was 8 to 9, something like that. Made 130 then per contract per session, right? You know how that works. It's one contract that I've been trading at a time per the session. But I do 3 or 4 trades in that contract or in that session. So I'm averaging out for that session $130 per contract. If I were to trade 2, it'd be $260 for that session. You get the gist. Okay, so I'm giving you that number because I usually trade between 5 to 10 contracts depending on my account value and where I'm restarting back again. So you know how much money I'm sort of pseudo making at that time. So Monday night was a 130 per session, per contract. And Tuesday was a 120 or something like that. And Wednesday was a 98. You know, yesterday we traded a little bit. We traded in demo yesterday because there was just a tremendous amount of news. And for next week, there's going to be a lot of news. It's the NFP. There's a lot of news coming. So you have to kind of figure that you have to find your times, and using 5-minute charts for a 1-hour trade, you're going to find times. Okay. Now, like in this morning, there was only one or two that we were looking at. Let's go over and have a look at our other counterpart here, who's the news was about this morning, but really, did they really move? And the answer is, yeah, it's sort of kind of pushed up, gave it some good movement. This is our prima donna pair. This actually moves more with oil news than it does with natural news for its own country. So yes, it was going to do good. We just recently had the news come out this morning. Like if we go look at the news right now for the USD CAD that came out this morning at 8:30, the majority of the news that came out was either neutral or within its favor. Okay. In its favor, didn't really do so well, but the big bull news here, this one, minus 7.2 means that it's doing good for the CAD, which means for the US CAD, it's not very good news. It means that it should drop some. And where is 8:30 on this calendar? Here, right? And what happens? You have a little bit of a sell-off. Not much. 37.39 to 37.56, about 20 pips on the sell-off. But then there's an engrossed buy on, immediate reaction to the process that the sell-off happens, and off it goes, off to the races. It then just doesn't seem to stop. I got to get another moving average. I don't know where my moving averages are going. I thought I had all these set up. There we go. Just like that. But it's been sort of mundane here for a little while with the CAD. Look at this. And what's scary for me? You know what this is? See, here's back on the 27th for 2 days. This seems to be a channel run pair. And you know what this usually indicates? That the government is stuffing it, right? Like they did a long time ago with the Swissy. The French actually were moderating their money and kind of playing a game, right? Not really letting it become, there's certain things countries can do, and don't really need to go into too much of it, but it's pretty nasty. So, but we're back to being prima donna again. Look at this, boom. It grabbed this level, okay? Use this level for a while. Look at this, use that level for a while, boom, boom. This is the channel that it kind of stays on for a long time, a couple of days on a 5-minute chart. Has a lot of information. If I drop back into a 15-minute chart, kind of seeing that same level kind of sticks there, doesn't it? Isn't it wild that if I were to actually go up to a 1-hour chart, what does that level look like? Huh, look at that. Isn't it weird? This is a 1-hour chart and still sticking there. What if I go to a 4-hour chart? Oh, look at that. Kind of stuck right there with it too, huh? What about a daily chart? Does that reach an area in there somewhere? Oh, yeah, it's encapsulated in here somewhere, right? But that's the point, is that the candles, the market itself, is represented by all the time levels. They're all the same. They're the same levels. They're just, you're able to, if I go to a 1-hour chart, and let's just say that I put a certain level that I know will kind of work. I'm going to put this level in right here. We're going to change that color just a little bit. We used to do this all the time. I'm going to do it green. It's really bright, right? And now I go back down to a 5-minute and we hunt that bar out. Oh, look at that. Isn't it weird? Look at that big old green chart is, right? But if I also go back to that 1 hour, because I'm doing it, it's pretty obvious that that's a high, that's a level, right? But I also go back to that level and I put on, this is the one from the 5-minute chart. And I say, okay, this is a level here, right? Knocking the valley off of that, but got all these touches. Where does that go to? Go back to a 5-minute chart. Goes back right there. See that? Boom, 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 boom. This kind of gravitates in that. Remember, this is a pair that's been sitting here for a while, for 2 days, but there it is right there. Doon, doon, and doon. And that's all looking at the 1-hour chart. Okay. So you can figure now all these lines you see it. There's a lot of lines, right? Oh my God, Max, there's so many lines. Yes, there's so many lines, but these are lines that you know what they are because you place them to a degree. The other lines, all the other lines are all color coded for certain reasons, right? The reds being the most important. Pay attention to me. These are reds. Like if there's red, 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 then guess what? This entire thing is a zone. Pay attention to it. Avoid it, trade it, do something to it. When it goes in and out, pay attention to it. Okay. Now, if you look at them as all like little micro zones, right, they kind of start making sense as well. And they all have priority, right? Like if you pick the most touched, one there, one there, one there, pushes out, kind of pushes back down, comes back to it, right? When you get this gravitation, see how like there's two right here and it's like really sticking to it. It's magnetic almost. And it starts to go back. You know where it's going. Where's it going? Back to here, right? Gets away from it. And where's it going to come back to? It's going to come back to here. So it could do what? Bounce. Once it bounces, this is where the money can be made at, you know, and it pierces through this top level. Even though that it does come back because it's hunting out stops, where is it going to come back to? The mean, right? It's going to come back to the mean. We know that it's going to come back to the mean here as well, right? We know that this is going to draw out. This is going to draw out like this, and this is eventually going to come back and meet to it. Okay, it's going to filter over. It's going to do something to that effect. I'm going to leave that there. Make it a little thicker so people can see it. Oops, let me do that. There. Now, it probably won't come exactly as that, but we'll see, right? We'll take a mental note of that. All right. So I can sit and do this all day long. I can sit and tell you about all the great things about the charts and what they're doing. Okay. Yesterday or the other day, we traded a USD Mexican or USD peso, right? The peso. And it was the first time, transparency, first time I've ever traded the peso. Now, it's the first time I ever traded the peso on Nadex, right? And trading the peso on Nadex, I was like, you know, I don't know if I really want to get into it, blah, blah, blah. We were only in for a minute and 28 seconds or whatever it was, and we won $25. So I'm not saying that that's a gauge of, you know, oh yeah, that's what we have to do. But I always had these preconceived notions. I never liked the peso because there's Kentucky divergence and all that other kind of stuff that is being done. Rob Booker uses it a lot. I know it's a heavy pair. In the world of Forex, it's a tough pair. In our world, for Nadex being a derivative, not so tough. Took all the wings off of it. All right. So what else do we got going on? Well, as I guess the main stuff here of being the DEX TV is that where are we headed next? Where are we headed next with this process? And I want you to kind of get a good feeling. Sorry for the bright light here. I want you to get a good understanding of where we're heading next, right? So we got the DEX TV. And the DEX TV is an indicator process, right? And this means that you as somebody who wants to be able to trade has this availability to go and do so off the site of DEX FX Markets, right? Because DEX Atomic, the regular series is all on the website, right? So we got DEX FX Markets, okay? And you have all these tools on standby in there, right? And you have to go to that site to get in and do that stuff, right? Well, with the DEX TV system, you really don't even have to go to, once you've logged in and you've gotten access and you've paid your access, you really don't really need to log in there, right? Yesterday, I was talking to Ron Fickert and a handful of other people. Speaking of which, just let me see something real quick. I just want to see if anybody answered. Wow. I have to show you this. Just so you can see it, I want you to see this because it's very important. I asked the two this morning in the Discord room. If you don't know what the Discord room is, find out. Because it's very important. Everybody should be in. This is a special room that I have for Ron and David M. And I gave this to them the other day, and they got it, right? I gave it back to them on the 27th of this month, they got it. Ron says, I'm 16-2 the last 2 days, all Forex. Won't be able to make the live show. Okay, that's cool. David M says, I'm 14-1 last 2 days with Forex. Not so good with indices, 7-3. Didn't do any commodities though. Yeah. So again, transparency here, right? I'm not, could I have just told you about the 14-1? Absolutely. 7-3, maybe not so good, right? 7-3. What does that look like? Probably looks pretty bad, right? 7 times 25, you know, minus the 3, minus, let's see, what's that? 225. So he's $50 in the hole on this one right there. But the 14-1, right? 14 times 25 minus 75. 275 there, minus the original 50 in the hole. He's still 225 up, right? Again, this is per one contract. This is, we assume that one contract and he got every single one for 25. This is to assume that he hasn't gotten any OTM. This is assumed that he hasn't gotten one for 35 or one for 60 or what have you, right? So that's the assumption. With Ron, 16-2, that's not too bad either. It's pretty damn good. 16 times 25 minus 150. 250, right? So again, we're right around in that process. One contract, 2 days, about $125 a day when you trade Forex. Now, 16 trades over 2 days, that's pretty hefty. I mean, it's not super hefty, but it's still pretty good there, right? I don't know exactly how many pairs he was fighting per each one or what he was doing or what have you, right? But 225 and even 250, you know, right around the same, 250 and 225, even with the losses with his indices. See where this is going? So how could they make twice as much? They could trade, you know, they didn't say how much money they made. They just said how many trades they won. And that's something that's pretty powerful. I'm about halfway there in the amount of trading. My average, okay, so you kind of figure the last 2 days, each one of them is made about 250, so you know, say 125 a day, okay, in that process. So you're looking at about $125 a day per contract. So how do you make 250 a day? Trade 2 contracts. That's how it works. Mine, I'm at about $100 a day, right? So I'm a little bit lower than these guys on the average. But again, that's per contract, not so much per trade, okay? So can it be done? Absolutely. Effectively? Most definitely. Consistently? That's up to you. It really does come back down to your ability to be able to get in there and follow the consistency. And what is that algorithm? We all know it, right? If you're here, if you're watching on this channel, you heard me say it. It's CVG, right? CVG. Consistency plus volume, right? Equals their goal. And that's the big one. It all depends on what your goal is. But most people ask, well, how do you get to consistency? Well, that's another algorithm. That's P and D. P plus D equals C. That's patient and discipline. Patience, waiting for the right thing. D, discipline, doing the right thing once that thing happens, once the timing happens. See what I'm saying? So there's a lot. There is a tremendous amount of stuff that you get an opportunity to work with. So one of the things with the Dex TV is that you're mostly working on that interiorly with either signals or the Dex Effects market system, Dex Atomic system inside the actual website. Where here you get to sort of break away a little bit, right? You get the Trading View system. You go to Trading View, you get Trading View plus the Dex Atomic indicator, right? We call this the DATV, right? Dex Atomic TV Trading View indicator, all right? And then you put this on your pad, like I think those guys are doing, some of those guys are doing. You put it on a pad, you put it on a laptop, you do whatever, right? I wouldn't use your phone, right? Yeah, you probably, if you got like a big, you know, I don't know what they call it, you know, the S75 or whatever it is, right? The iPhone 700N, whatever. I don't know. I'm making up numbers, right? But if you got something with a bigger screen, you might be able to get away with it. But you want to be able to have the values to be able to look at the stuff and be able to expand it and do that stuff. And it really is touch sensitive on a pad. I would buy a pad, get yourself a pad. And if you want to be like really mobile, then go use a pad and do that, right? And that's what it comes down to. So that value now is that you're in your own process now. Yes, you do have the tools, but you're no longer reliant on DexFX markets. You're reliant on your own prowess. You've paid for your indicator, you paid for your process. Now, there are some monthly fees and stuff that happen here with the Dex TV system. Whether or not you're a founder or you're co-founder or you've gotten a system or you're paying your monthly, you got to make sure you're paying your monthly. If you're going to have a problem, then write us and we can help. But you still got to pay for that process. But what happens, because I get these people who simply, you know, I think they look at catastrophe around the corner. We just survived a huge pandemic. With all this stuff that's going on, we're still here. Our servers are still here. Our processors are here. You know, knock on wood, we're still okay. But what happens if you become reliant on this? And it's like, well, what happens to Max is going to disappear. Well, guess what, folks? I have the source code to all this stuff. The source code to the indicator can be given to you, and you can put it through your Pine script, and you have it forever. I have it right now to where, you know, it's invite only, but I can open it up, open source to the world if I wanted to. And guess what? If we get taken out, that's what I'm going to do, because who do you think is going to trade it mostly? Me, right? If we can't afford to have the servers going and all that kind of stuff, we have contingency plans everywhere. All right. Won't bother you too much longer. We just got a few more things to talk about because some great stuff is about to happen, but I need your help. April 1st, we turned off payment to everybody. We turned off payment because we had a lot of people who were leaving because they felt like they couldn't afford it or couldn't do it. So we turned off payment to everybody. But we had a lot of people come back. We had a lot of people who valued the payment happening anyway, and they rebought back in because they could afford it and they could take care of it. We also had a lot of people donate, and that was awesome. Thank you so much to all of you. The Wall of Awesomeness is filled with great people. But we still need help. We're still building out the last little bit of this process. And what is this process going to be? Well, originally we were trying to get the TV system to be able to throw a signal and throw a signal back onto the website, right? And then the ZDON, right? Remember the ZDON, the bot that automatically trades onto Nadex, right? Would then grab that signal and put it over to Nadex for you, right? You put your sign-in information in the account, and then it would simply do that. Well, we're kind of rethinking this because there's a lot of little hiccups that can happen. The Dex TV system talking to the site to put it into a process is a possibility, and we're still going to be heading that way to a degree. But I also want to make an independent version. Now, what does that mean? It means simply that you'll get your private ZDON software, and which will connect to your private Dex TV system, right? So the DATV, and these will talk to Nadex, right? So if you put into here, I want to trade the commodity at 3 p.m., right? And you activate the 3 p.m. availability for that, it's going to send a signal when it wants to, from your own one. Not from DexFX markets, but from your own. And that's what we're trying to accomplish now. We just have to work on the licensing for this. We also have to work on the alert systems for this to make sure that they're perfect and that the system can get it. And how all that works. It'll have to have a special API signature, all that kind of stuff. And this is going to take a while. I'm not talking years. I'm talking maybe a month or so, because this is pretty tough, right? And as long as Nadex is still keeping their process open for us to be able to use the ZDON, we're still making it in this fashion. They've really done a number on taking us out of the newer system. Is very tough to work with. So for us, you know, for everybody else, it seems to be doing all right. But let me tell you, that's what we're here to try to do, is to get to this next level. So ZDON, next level, next phase for us is to get our Dex TV system push into a database. And once we get that database pushing, we'll then have some pretty good opportunities in here. One other thing, if you're getting the DATV to trade commodities and indices, you will have to pay for more data. But that's not because of us, that's because of TradingView. And when you have to pay for that more data, let me tell you, they ask you a whole bunch of questions. Are you trading for anybody else? Are you a private company, or do you do this, or you do that? They ask you a ton of questions. Getting the data for commodities or futures or indices or what have you is heavily regulated and heavily guarded. So you have to be very, very careful in what you put out there. This is why I'm only going to be showing Forex trades happening for now. I'm not going to be showing commodities and indices happening. If you want to take on that responsibility and do those, that's completely up to you and for you. But I'm going to continue to do the Forex side and work with that process. I might even throw in some Bitcoin runs. I don't know. Is Nadex even still doing Bitcoin stuff? I hate to sound like a complete noob. I don't see it on here. Knockouts for. I don't know what a knockout is. Touch brackets is gone. It looks like a lot of stuff is changed again. And this is why you asked, Max, how come you're not doing touch brackets? Okay. Underlining indicative, yeah. None of it's even on here. Well, that's the way that goes. Well, I'm glad I stuck with the big boys. I didn't even put a system on for 5 minutes yet on my trading view charts yet, even though I have unlimited with premium. And that would be my suggestion, that if you do end up getting the charge for the system, go premium, spend the $59. If you can afford it, if you're at this level of trading, spend the $59, get the data. If you're going to be trading indices, do the data, right? If you're only going to be trading Forex and you only have about 4 setups, right? You got a 1 hour, a 2 hour, 1 hour, 2 hour master and secondary setup. So you got about 4 setups. You got plenty of room in there just to go get a pro account, right? Pro plus, right? Because it's also about the alerts. If you want to have the alerts, you want to do that stuff, then you're going to need that, okay? But let me tell you, it is definitely worth it when you're in there trading. You got the information. When you got the information all sitting in front of you on all trades, on what can work and what cannot work, right? So you'll have the data sitting right in front of you. Yeah, so this line might curve out back a little bit. It still meets possibly get back to this line, right? That's what it's doing. Look at this big impulse move, and then we got a little bit of reaction coming back to it. All right, corrected. I think that's about all I got time for this morning. I hope that you have a great week coming. Weekend, enjoy yourself, take some time. We have some solutions in here that we're pushing into. If you're looking to make a home business, dexally.com. We have Dex Web Tools. We have Fabertech. We have a lot of stuff that we're doing. We're also hiring for Fabertech for people that are looking to make some money from being at home. Everybody's going to get an email over the next couple of weeks inviting you to some of these other series. We have a YouTube channel shift that we're going to be doing. We're very excited about this new paradigm shift we're going to be getting into. So please, please, please be patient, be proactive, work hard, be disciplined, find your consistency so you can add your volume and get to your goal. I'm Max Farrow. This is DexFX Markets Weekly Wrap Up. And as always, trade well.